Alright, so we're about to kick off alpha testing for ProffieOS7. So we've got a few little pieces left to finish. Fredrik's working on a few things. I've got a bunch of things to do. But one of the biggest pieces of OS7 that's coming out is now pretty much ready to go. And I have a ton of videos that I've shot. So there's now so many new capabilities. I had to do multiple different videos. So I think I've got 10 or 11 videos in a playlist. You're going to want to check them all out because there's just so much. I'm going to do a really quick run through in this video, but this is meant to be a short intro so that I can get people to go check out the bigger, longer videos because it's just going to be too much for me to post in one place. So up until now, a preset, or in ProffieBoard, a preset is basically a combination of a font and a style. And the font is all the sounds that you have available, and they play, and they're you can call a clash effect and a lockup effect, and you have your ins and outs and your swings and everything. But that's all controlled separately. And then you have all these visual effects, and over all the releases, we've come up with some crazy animations. We now have the ability to do these interactive type styles where they have controls that you can interact with in real time, and they use all of the gyroscopic and accelerometer data in real time. So I can turn this hilt, I can have these two sparks. The one thing we haven't been able to do is connect perfectly sound and audio, sound and visual effects. Well, OS7 changes that. OS7 now has a complete synergy between the visual effects and the audio effects. So this is a very simple style, but this style has interactive control for those two sparks, and anytime they come together, the style code is going to not only create an explosion in animation, it also has its own sound effect built into the style code that can be anything you want, and you can have as many as you want. So every time I bring these sparks together, I have a perfectly synced video or visual and sound effect. And this is one of the new capabilities. This is a transition sound. This sound effect is specifically for animations that you build, and they could be any animation you want. But now, for the first time, the style code itself actually can interact and control the sounds in the font. That's never been possible before, and it's going to open the door to so many new capabilities because we're going to take these interactive controls, we're going to take the transition sounds, we're going to take the ability for the style code to work with the font in each preset differently. So instead of your prop file, which controls how your saber works in every preset, these are individual to style code. That means every single preset, every style code on your saber can do something completely different. And you can combine, mix and match all these things to come up with the craziest stuff. And this is great not only for users, font makers, the level of creativity that you're going to have now, both in your sound effects and what we can do on Proffie is unprecedented. All right, let me show you another example. So this one here, I have the same idea of a transition effect, or a transition sound, but this one is on a loop. So this is going to be a lightning strike. Every time there's an animation of the lightning strike, I'm going to get the sound of the lightning strike. And again, it's controlled by the style code, so it will always be in sync. Now this lightning strike is set up to be random. So it's not a repeating pattern in the font. It's actually all style code driven. So randomly we'll get lightning strikes. And you'll hear the lightning sound. And it's always in sync because the style code is creating the animation and the sound effects together. So we can have overlays like this over a basic blade style that have their own sound effect built into them. And this will all work with your font. Now there's going to be some changes to font setup. Again, everything's optional, but even font makers, you're going to be able to include these additional sounds and have them built into styles and do all this crazy stuff. These are all simple animations. These are all simple concepts, but what we can do with them now is going to be just game-changing. All right, on top of that, as if that's not enough, now that the style code and the styles can interact with the fonts, we also have a new ability called alt font. And the name might change. I know Fredrik's working on the naming. But essentially what it is in the past, you have a font. That font is set for that preset. If you want to change the font, you can do it with an upload. You can do it through edit mode. You can do it through ProffieOS Workbench. You can change the font. But it's always been the font. So if I have a visual effect on the blade that changes, say, from like light side to dark side, the font is going to always be the same. or at least it was. Now, with the alt font capability, again, the style code is able to interact with the font and change the sound. So when I go, this is one of my pull to the darkness styles. This has a light side font, light side swing, light side retraction. I'm going to stop talking so you can hear the sounds. All the sound effects, light side font. But there's an alt font, and it's in the same font. So the font is set up to have alt fonts in it. So it's still one font per preset, but you can actually combine fonts into what's called an alt font, which is just setting up a folder structure within the font. And now I can change to the dark side. I have a new hum. I have new swings. New retraction. New ignition. The style code that changes the color and the effect is also now changing the font sounds. And it can be any sounds. It can be all of the sounds. You can do anything you want in your font and have the style code interact with it. If I change back, I'm back to the light side. So this is yet another capability where we're bringing synergy between the visual effects and the audio effects in OS 7. And I think I've got one more, and then you're going to have to check out all of the other videos, because there's I think, yeah, like I said, I've got at least 11, 12 maybe videos of other uses. There's so many uses for this now. So this here, so this style, this is taking the idea of the alt font and the interactive capabilities and putting them together. So this is kind of a new variation on the Crucible blade that I came up with for 06. It's an interactive effect. It's based off the Doom video game where you got that Crucible blade and you had to dip it in the lava pit to charge it. Well, this style, if I point it straight down, it's going to imbue this blade with a flame effect, both visually and the sound effect. And it only lasts for 3 clashes. And you can set it for whatever you want, but the concept is there's a bunch of pieces all working together. There's the interactive control that allows for me to change the blade's style and sound just by doing some action. In this case, the action is pointing out. But that's the other piece of it that came in OS 6, but now we're taking it to the next level. Actually, I'm sorry, Crucible Blade's next. This is the Koran horn style. I forgot, that's why this is silver. So Koran horn, so we've always had dual phase, multi-phase, all that capability. The only way we could ever change the sound effects was if you change presets. So the multi-phase capability in OS 5 that I introduced, you would actually be changing presets by using the multi-phase control. It would actually go to the next or previous preset. It would reload everything. So you'd have the blade would turn off for a second, it would reignite, you'd get your font sound, all that other stuff. That was kind of cheating the system. So instead of having the actual blade color change or have the actual font change, we just changed presets, but we did it in real time without having to press extra buttons. Now, this has a brand new interactive control, which is a twist acceleration. It's a quarter turn, really quick. So this is different than twist on, twist off. Twist on, twist off is a quick back and forth rotation. This is just a quick twist of the wrist. Now I have my purple blade. Hopefully purple shows. Sometimes purple doesn't show. But I've got a different font. So this is a Koran horn now. Switch it right back. In real time, just based on the tiny flick of the wrist, I can use a Koran horn style. And I can have the sounds and the colors all controlled by that interactive control. Alright? So this is the Crucible blade. Alright, so this should be, I believe this is the Crucible blade. Let's see, I'm going to dip it down. Yep. As soon as I point down, I have a fire effect. And if I clash it 3 times, it's going to burn through the fire effect. And then it returns both the visual and the sound effects back to the normal use. And I can do it as often as I want. I can just dip it down, fire effect. So the interactive controls are going to bring all of the style capabilities. Almost think like video game level. Video, or visual and audio effects now are possible, all in Proffie. And since it's controlled by the style code, every one of your presets can be completely different. Now there's a bunch of other capabilities coming, and I this already went longer than I wanted it to. So check out the playlist that I have, and I'm going to be putting together a full website with more explanation. There'll also be discussions on the Crucible and all this stuff. But like never before, complete synergy between the visual effects that Proffie's capable of, which are nearly unlimited, and now the audio effects. And when font makers, I think when you guys get a hold and see what's possible, the creativity and imagination of the sound effect guys mixed with the creativity of all the style builders, ProffieBoard is about to take off like you've never seen before. And really, we've always said there's endless possibilities. That was always on the visual side. Now there's endless possibilities on the entire Saber experience, because we also have, on top of all the interactive controls, all the new sound effect capabilities, the synergy between visual and audio sounds. We have the ability to build the mini games, just like that first demo. We have the ability to create conditional effects, chained effects. We have the ability to introduce quotes into specific sounds. You could build conversations into a blade based on what you're doing with it. It's really crazy. All the stuff that's coming. It's going to be complete, like nothing you've ever seen before. I'm so excited to finally release this to everybody. So keep an eye out. Alpha testing should be starting soon. We're just finishing up. Once Fredrik's happy with everything, alpha testing will start. Then we'll go. There should be less than OS 6, so alpha testing hopefully go faster. But this stuff, I've been playing with this for a few weeks now. Conceptually, I've been working with Fredrik for probably 6 to 9 months on this. But now that we've got everything dialed in, we've got everything working, I mean, it's going to be amazing. And I know everybody's going to really enjoy this. So if you're a Proffie user, you're going to love it. If you're not a Proffie user, you're probably about to want to be one. So check everything out, watch all the videos, and we'll talk to you guys soon.